All right. I think the brief session, it's only what, 24 bets coming up, pretty much speaks for itself. But I just want to sort of remind you folks out there that the con men on YouTube, the gambling content creators, only win when they win more bets than they lose. I mean, okay, so once in a while they'll get bloody, they'll do one of their Hail Marys when they're in the toilet, and they'll come out with a little bit of a profit at the end of a bad session. But mostly they don't pull that off. They do more fail Marys than Hail Marys. So that's how it is for them. But what you have to have, if you want to beat these games, if you want to be businesslike, professional, you want to approach this market with the right attitude and the right resources, which is the most important thing of all. The way that you approach the whole thing obviously is important. You've got to use money management. You've got to use progressive betting, which is basically the same thing. And I recommend that you use pattern betting. But the one thing that you must have, whatever you do, and you might have a better strategy than this one, you must have a strategy that wins even when you lose more bets than you win, because otherwise you're in the toilet long term. That's just how it is. And your Vegas Mats and your Bobby Rivases and all of these guys who do these stunts for you and lose tons of money and moan about it, but in fact they really couldn't give a tinker's toss, because at the end of the day they get their money back from ad revenue from YouTube. So let's not cry for them, but just remember, they don't win unless they win more bets than they lose. You don't have a cash cow called Moogle, or Google if you insist. So you got to do better. You've got to be smarter. End of lecture. All right, so I'm back at blackjack. The last time I played blackjack, I had 8 wins and 8 losses and ended up winning 160,000, which is pretty silly. But I was driven there because of the low table limit at baccarat. And this is really the message that I'm just trying to get across all the time. I'm not offering people, the sort of the brass ring, the silver bullet, the holy grail, anything like that. What I'm trying to do is demonstrate as often and as dramatically as I can that if you don't have 2 things combined, a really workable, viable, proven, mathematical betting strategy, call it money management if you like, call it progressive betting if you like, call it whatever you want, just do it. But don't do it if you don't have a ton of money behind you. Because the way the casinos get you is by driving you into a situation where you hit the table limit and then you panic and then you lose all your money. So anyway, just to remind anybody who's forgotten or anybody who's new, the first wave of bets is at a $25,000 to $5,000 table. And then after that, if we hit the table limit, we reset and we climb up to sort of the heady heights of sort of like 5,000 minimum and whatever, all the way up to 100,000. And 100,000 isn't necessarily enough to beat the odds, but it's going a good way towards it, and it's working extremely well for me right now. I've got 300 shoes of baccarat in the bag and in the new worksheet where everything is so transparent. It's absolutely bloody ridiculous. I can't move without being sort of watched and the whole bit and controlled. The one flaw, of course, is that this sim, this Wizard of Oz sim, does not have the record-keeping skills, facilities, whatever, of the Baccarat Win Pro thing. I really want those guys to create an equally brilliant blackjack sim, but I think the only way I'm going to get that done is to win the lottery and pay them to do it, because I think if people who are serious about trying to beat these games, in other words, people who are ready to be businesslike, follow the rules, be consistent, only play when their health is at the max, and their attitude is at its best, and their general sort of physical state is optimal, fully alert, fully aware, never touching alcohol, stuff like that. Then great. That's my mission, is simply to try and sort of sort the lambs from the wolves. I don't know, whatever. That's not good, is it? I believe that's a double for the loss. Uh-oh. Hit the wrong button. I do that sometimes. And that's a repeat. And that's a double down. And that's a loss. So we just lost. So we're 1-2 now. And we're good. Back to the min. Win it, then min it. Yeah, boring, I know, but it's a very, very important rule. Knowing when you've won enough is a big part of the battle. Oh, bloody ace. 1-2. No, 51, I think. Oops. 2-3. 5-6. That's definitely not a double down. Rubbish. Look at that, after all that work. 11-6 dropped to 3 into the drop zone. And the drop value should be at least a fifth of your whole, of your target, of your loss to date, right? So 1100 is what we're down. So we're in the drop zone, sort of like rounding up in hundreds. A fifth of 1100 will be 220, but we're rounding it up to 300. So 11-6, drop 2-3 and hit. Bugger. 14-6. I think I just, no, that, yeah, 14, so it's now 11-6 again. Damn it, another 22. We'll call it 17-20 now. We're going to be running away from this in a minute. Oh, look at that. Oh dear. All right. So the next bet should be 4,000, right? But we can't make that bet here. So we're going to run away. So make a note of that, and I'm going to take a screenshot of it. And I'll be back. All right, so this new table is 1,000 to 25,000 table limit. So that's the range, 1 to 25, which is not really very good. We're going to do the 4, which is the turnaround bet. That's not going to work. 7-8. Bum. Oh dear. Look at this. What rubbish. It's such crap, isn't it? So 15-8. So the drop is going to be 5,000. Should be 3,000. I did that wrong. So that's 28. And we can just do that again. Can't double, which is a bitch. Turned out to be just as well, didn't it? Is that... oh God! Now I'm completely confused. Hang about. I'm gonna have to sort of go away again for a moment and mull this over. It isn't usually this shitty, let's face it, but that's where we're at right now. So we owe 22,000 at this table, and we owe, 3,400, well, I'll call it 3,500 at the other table. So that's 25,500. So right now we're looking at 28,800, and I'm going to go off and find another higher limit table, which will be, I think, 5,000 to 100,000. I mean, this is utterly bizarre. You don't usually get into this kind of trouble, but it's very useful for my purposes, because at least I can show you that if you don't have a shitload of money and if you don't have a plan, then you are screwed. Okay? So anyway, 28,800 is where we're at right now. So that's 6,000 minimum. 6,000 is the drop. Damnation. Look at this. 28,800, so that's 34,800. Look at that, we finally got one. 34,800. So that's 28,800, which I think we better call 30,10 to give us a chance. Ay, ay, ay. 40,20. God. All right, we're going to go all in now. 60-70. Because I don't really know what else to do. Can't do the double down. Will you believe that? You should believe it, because I keep doing it, God knows what this is going to turn out to be when I run it through Excel. It's absolutely bloody horrible. But here we are. We've now got a profit. So we've won 40,000 here, and we owe 20. We're about 13,000 ahead after that, and the whole roundup process, that is quite simply to establish a final profit which is in line with the amount of risk, the amount of work, the amount of stress, the amount of threat, the amount of challenge that you've had to endure to get to where you are. But all of these various different demos that I keep putting up are simply to show you that if you play like Vegas Matt and Bobby Rivas and Bretsky and Crazy Cody Burnett and Dana White and the Jack of Farts, Steve Will Do It, and so the various others, you're going to get killed. So I'm just trying to get the message across. Don't even think about going into this particular marketplace unless you have firepower, ability, dedication, and money. Okay, so I don't think anybody who's sat through the 23 bets involved in that last demo would disagree with me that it was a pile of crap. As it turns out, the final house advantage, 52.3%, right here. The win for pattern betting, 14,525, which is 10.5% of total action. So that's pretty damn good, I'll tell you. That is good against a house edge of 52.3%. And this is an extreme example of the sort of thing that you come up against. But if you've got a strategy, if you've got money behind you, if you believe in what you're doing, if you can hang in, then you will turn around. And basically, this session this time, there is absolutely no way that I would actually have sat through that in the real world. So it's just an illustration of the kind of crap you can get into and the kind of crap you can get out of if you have the right approach. But you can't do it playing like the professional losers on YouTube, the Vegas Matts, the Bobby Rivases, all the others who I keep on listing, the Dana Whites and the Steve Will Do It's and the Bretskys and the on and on and on, Brandon O'Brien and all those guys. I mean, they only make money when they win more bets than they lose. This time we lost 12 more bets than we won, but because of the strategy, we turned around with a profit of 14,350. And worth noting is, right here, if we'd been in a real casino, we would have been able to flag a pit boss over and say, hey, need to make a double down here. Can you spot me another 100 grand or another 70 or whatever? Put that in there as a winning double down. And what do you get? A win of 84,350 or 61% of total action. But I can't insist on that because I couldn't do it, And it's my choice to use these sims. So whatever the handicaps, whatever kind of obstacles, whatever shitty rules the sims put in my way, I've got to deal with, But I just wanted you to see that last bet, that last 70,000 would have been a double down, and it was a 10, and it would have caught an ace, and it would have beaten a dealer's 20, which would have been fantastic. But there you have it. I mean, this is how it works. This is how it's done. But you cannot use this strategy unless you are going into these games, which is basically just a market. It's just another business opportunity. If you're approaching them with the same kind of sort of like dedication that the casinos put in to ripping you off at every turn, any which way they can, and they're using shills like the King of Shills, Vegas Matt, and all the others, they're using them to put across the message, basically, that losing is huge fun. And you will hear these guys say time and time again, they lose 30 grand because they lost more bets than they won. And then they say, yeah, but we had fun. Do you believe that? Well, yeah, they probably did because they got their money back at the end of the day. You won't. I won't. So we have to be a little bit smarter than them. Well, a lot smarter than them. So that's how it goes. Anyway, next time. So a little detail I forgot to add right here is this here thingy. If you take this action here, 138,700, and you multiply that by the house edge, 52.3%, you get an indicated loss of 72,502, right? Versus our win of 14,350, which in a decent world would actually be 384,525 in the end. So that's that's a very, very big difference. I get that, and that technically speaking should be over here. Sorry about forgetting about that, but you know what? Don't put it down to my age. It's extreme thirst because it's past my beer time here. So I'm going to go and put that straight. Get hold of a bottle of my favourite, my Abbott Reserve, now owned by a Chinese company, that brewery. Oh dear, oh dear. But damn, the Chinese are overtaking us at everything, and it's because we chose to let them. We gave them all the tools, gave them all the business. And so, all this complaint that you get from people sort of saying, well, of course I won't buy Chinese. Can't do, no, I don't buy Chinese. I only buy things from Bangladesh or whatever. As if conditions for workers in factories in Bangladesh are any better than they are in China. But, we gave them the tools. And not only that, we gave them the designers, the engineers, the materials, everything, so I don't think we should be complaining too much. And I look at the ads for those Chinese electric cars that they're coming out with, like every hour on the hour, it seems like, they're bloody marvellous. God damn, I'm just waiting for that lottery,